Today's video will be the last in the series of clock repair for total beginners. I've started working on an advanced course that will take some time to get organised. I will post a video about the new course a couple of weeks before it airs, so you don't miss out on the new series. Wednesday's upload, in the meantime, will be replaced with other clock repair and service videos. I have a pile of clocks sitting beside my bench that require attention. Clocks that strike, chime, cuckoo, ring alarms, 8-day clocks, and even dollar watches. Clocks that were manufactured in America, Germany, England and France. Today I will show you how to make an oiler from a piece of wire. Then we will oil our clock movement, place it on a test stand and set it in beat. I hope you all enjoyed the current series, and I would like to thank all of you who stuck with the series and made it such a success. Today I'm going to show you a couple of easy ways to make a clock oiler. This is a commercially available clock oiler. You can see it there quite easily. These are the ones that I use, and I'm going to show you how to make them today. First up, we'll use some twist ties used in the garden for tying up veggies and plants and flowers and what have we. Nice thin bit of wire, plastic coated, so it won't rust on you. So we'll start off initially by cutting a piece about 3 inches, 3.5 inches long. We don't need that amount, but it gives us something to start off with. The next thing we need is a Phillips head screwdriver. Not a blade screwdriver, you'll see why in a moment. Wrap the top of the wire around the screwdriver and spin it round. Only takes a couple of turns, then it slides right off the end of the screwdriver. We'll flatten that end down using a pair of pliers. And you can see that's given you quite a nice little handle for your oiler. Very easy to hold, a lot easier than holding it like that. It gives you something to grip on. Right, the next thing we need to do is remove some of the plastic coating down here to reveal the wire that we're going to use for our oiler. So we use a razor blade or craft knife or something along those lines. We just lift the plastic coating off. Doesn't take very much to do. Straighten the oiler up a bit. There we have it. Straighten that in. As easy as that. Nice fine little tip for oiling clock bushes and pivots, and that's how easy it is to make. Right, put that aside. Now the next way to make an oiler, if you're into electronics, Arduino and programming electronics, coding in C++, you'll have plenty of this lying around. The cable that we use to connect the components so that they work. I'll make an oiler out of the white cable this time. Once again, cut about 3 inches off, thereabouts. That back with the rest. Same deal as last time. Wrap one end around the Phillips head screwdriver and twist it round. Once it's tight, slide it off the screwdriver, flatten the last little end down, and that's what we got so far. Now we need to take the coating off the wire, about that much. Pull that through. And there we have it. However, you'll see quite easily that the white encased wire is a lot wider in diameter than the green one. So that means that if we use that oiler as such, then it would drop too much oil into each of the bushes. We don't want to over oil. So what we do with that to solve that problem quite easily, we put the end of our oiler on a bench vise, take a small ball peen hammer, hit it 3 or 4 times, and you'll notice a nice splayed end on there. Turn it sideways and it's very thin, pretty much the same size as the green one. So that will limit the amount of oil that will collect on there, and these are very, very good for oiling clock movements. They'll put too much oil in a watch, but you can actually use this one for oiling watches. So that's what we're going to use today for our oiling. So let's get going and get oiling. Today we'll be using Mobius D5 clock oil, and I find it easier, instead of trying to dip your oiler into the bottle, I put some into a small container like that that's got a lid on it, a screwable lid, so you can keep the dust out of it when you're not using it. So that's what we'll use today. Plus, we'll use one of our new oilers we've just made. I'll put the oil up there. We'll start off with a drop on the winding arbor, and then we'll follow the train up, putting a dot of oil on each of the pivots. You can see how well that our new oiler works, putting just the right amount of oil on. The last thing we want is too much oil, and we'll put one on the hammer down here. Turn it round, move our oil pot over, and we'll come back down on the other side. Drop on the winding arbor, first wheel, second wheel, third wheel. We'll put a drop on each of these pillars here from the levers, the J hook and the lift lever. Now turn the movement over. We can now do the front. Right, we'll now work our way up the front. We'll start off with a drop on the hammer, one on the winding arbor, on the time side, T1, first wheel on the time side, T2, T3, T4, the escape wheel, pull that little lever back for the moment, put a drop on that pin there, put the lever back to hold it in position. Two drops down on the minute arbor. Turn the movement round so we can access it more easily. Starting at the top of the train this time, strike train. Once again in under the escape wheel, the lift lever, T3, warning wheel, T2, maintenance cam, and T1. Now we're not quite finished yet. What we have to do is put a drop of oil on the leading and trailing faces of the pallets. That's the leading face. Turn it round. That is the trailing face. We'll put another one on there. You don't oil the teeth, you put it on the pallets there. And I think that has got it. Seems to be everything. There should be a nut on that post there, which I'll put on in a moment. But we've now oiled. Just check and see, make sure everything is oiled. There's nothing inside. Nope, that's all done. All right. So that's now been oiled. Now we'll put the movement up on a test stand and I'll show you how to put it in beat. The first thing to do when setting up your movement is to make sure it's as level as possible. Here you can see I've put a 6-inch rule over the two posts on the movement and put a level on it, and have adjusted the legs at the base to make it level. That's the first thing we do when we're setting up a clock movement, to put it in beat. Bearing in mind, when you've reassembled your clock and the movement is in the case, you need to find somewhere to put the clock. It obviously has to be level, and it needs to be on a relatively strong base, a cabinet or a mantle shelf over a fireplace or something that's solid, so that when you or anyone else walks past the clock, it doesn't pick up the vibration, which can throw it out of beat. It needs to be on a solid base. All right, we've established there that the movement is level. Now we'll go on to the next step. There you can hear the movement is in beat. I've put the sound through a sound amplifier to make it easier to hear. That is the even tick-tock, tick-tock that you're looking for your clock to be in beat. That is a very steady beat. Right, now I'll put it out of beat and then we'll discuss how to get it set up. You can hear it's out of beat now. It's an uneven tick and tock. Now, if that's the case, what you need to do is to move the clock slightly to the left first. That's a more even beat. We're feeding back on the beat amplifier. Start it off again. And it's gradually getting worse coming this way till it stops. So it's obvious that we have to move the case to the left to get it into beat. Now what Grandma used to do, she used to put a couple of pennies under one side of the clock to put it in beat. That was alright in those days, but now we're going to find out we put a clock in beat if it's running as badly as that and it's on a level surface. We know by looking at it that stops the clock, and by moving it to the left that is now in beat. So what that means is, I'll stop that for a moment. What that means is we need to bend the crutch, this piece here, that brass rod there, in the opposite direction to where we had to move the clock to get it in beat. I'll get a couple of pairs of pliers, and when you're doing this you don't just grab it and bend it. You've got to hold the crutch in two places, and we've got to bend it that way. So what we would do in this instance, we would hold the crutch there, put the second pair of pliers down the bottom and slowly turn it to the right a little bit, then start the movement again, see if it's any better or worse. That's obviously still out of beat. I'm not actually bending the crutch because this movement's in beat. So what you would do then would be repeat the operation, hold the crutch, pair of pliers and bend it a little more to the left, and you keep going until I'll adjust my stand. You can see it's, you can hear it getting into beat. And there it is, that's in beat. Remember, you need a good solid base to put your clock on so that vibrations don't do that to it. That's the last thing you want on your clock, any sort of vibration. And stays in beat. Alright, that's that. Easily done.